can call me Patty. I go by Patty.
Welcome, Patty. All right, very good. We thank you for your interest in the District 2 Alderman position.
Mhm.
And we'll ask you a list of pre-selected questions
Okay.
that we have put together. We've allocated 20 minutes for each of our candidates
Okay.
for the interview, and we're conducting 8 this evening. One we will be conducting on Thursday evening
Okay.
as well.
Very
The only thing
ambitious.
is, we welcome you to stay after the interview if you'd like.
Okay.
But we do have a request that you not share the questions that we're asking of you tonight until after Thursday. That's the day that the other interview will be
Okay.
taking place. Once all the interviews are completed on Thursday, the committee will decide the next step in the process, which could range anywhere from selecting the final person for appointment or either narrowing down the candidates and maybe asking for an additional interview. Rebecca Grill is our city administrator and Steve Bratz is our city clerk, and they will be the people that will be contacting you regarding the next steps in the process.
Okay.
So please be cognizant of the time limit of 20 minutes that we're interviewing you, and try to provide concise answers if you can. We'd appreciate it. The first question will be answered by our Common Council President, Tom Lysick.
Patty, how do you view the role of an alderperson?
I feel an alderperson is a contact for the citizens to the city government. They are the go-between when people are having issues with public works or economic development, maybe having problems with things and they need a voice to help them. That's one thing that the alderperson does. The alderperson is also responsible to the taxpayers for the development of the budget, making sure spending is in line with what has been budgeted by the city council, and to then share with the taxpayers why these decisions were made regarding the budget and other policy decisions that are made by the council.
Patty, what characteristics, qualifications, and experiences do you possess that make you the most viable candidate for the position?
Well, if you had read my letter, I have been an alderperson previously in another city in northern Wisconsin for 4 years. I have served as the chairperson of the police commission in that city, the grants and aid committee in that city, and also the human resources and budgetary committee. I developed 4 budgets in that city, which were all lower than the previous budget of each year. So I lowered taxes each year, presented that to the council. After I moved back to West Allis, I grew up here. After I moved back to West Allis, I became involved with the strategic planning committee that we had back in 2013 and 14 that sort of led to that plan, the strategic plan that the city now has. And I also served on the library board. I have a degree in business and also a degree in political science. And I have served as a journalist on this side of the table, watching city councils and county boards. And so I am familiar with the operations on both sides of the table for a city council.
Patty, have you ever previously considered running for alderperson? If you have or haven't not run, haven't you?
Okay, have I considered running but then I decided not to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did consider running, and I've forgotten his name and I should know it, to replace the alderperson that Ms. Probst replaced. We were good friends, and I always joked when he was going to retire from the city council that I'd run for his seat. At that time, I was working full-time, and I decided I just did not have the time to devote fully to city council business. I'm currently self-employed now. I have a seamstress and tailoring business, and can set my own hours. And I felt that now was a good time to get back into politics, and so that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Sure.
What do you feel is the most significant shortcoming of the city council at this time?
Significant shortcoming. I think the communication to the citizens. I know there are some city council members that are very active on social media and walking their districts and stuff, but there are others that you don't hear from very often. And I want to be the kind of alderperson that is accessible and is having two-way conversations with the citizens in my district and also throughout the city. So I think we need to have better two-way communication.
The city is in a stage of redevelopment. What areas in the second district do you believe have the greatest need? And do you feel the common council has correctly handled economic development in the city as a whole?
I think the city council's been doing a good job. The development of the strategic plan was very helpful, and I enjoyed serving on that committee to help develop that. I think in the second district, we're currently working on the National Avenue project, which is nice to see, but I'd like to see some more development further down National Avenue, between 84th and 76th Street. There's a lot of vacant storefronts, which the city council and the city itself could be helping find maybe tenants for and businesses to go into that location. I also think that Greenfield Avenue between 84th Street and 76th Street, it's our front door. We get 1 million visitors a year with the state fair, and it's detached from our downtown. And if we had more development there, it's great to see that the Hilton, not the Hilton, the Hampton Inn, that's it, thank you, that Hampton Inn went in there. But there's still empty lots and there's still empty buildings. And in discussing this position with friends and relatives, a lot of them said there's no connection between things that go on at the state fair and getting people to come down to the rest of downtown, where we do have some very fine restaurants and clubs and things. And so I'd like to see maybe some more development there. And then also on 84th Street, the strip malls that are south of Greenfield Avenue definitely need to have some help with either help the owner get better tenants or maybe do some redevelopment of those strip malls.
Patty, do you understand the time commitment required for an older person, meetings, constituent interactions, general community involvement, and do you have the time and flexibility to accommodate the schedule?
I definitely understand the commitment. Having served as an alderperson previously, I'm used to the numerous meetings that city council members have to attend, the phone calls that come to your house, the discussions in the grocery store parking lot. So I'm very familiar with all those kind of pulls on your time. Like I said previously, I am now self-employed, and so I do have the time to arrange my schedule that I would be able to attend the meetings of the city council and any committees that I would be appointed to.
Eddie, do you have any conflict of interest that we should be aware of?
Conflict of interest? I don't think so. I don't have any conflict of interest. I'm just a citizen in this city. I grew up here. I moved back here after living away from here for 20 years, and have decided this is where I want to make my home. And I don't have any business interests or ties to organizations that would have business that would come before the city council. I am, though, very aware of conflict of interest, having been a reporter and seeing it occur at times. And if there would be something that would come up where I would have a direct conflict, something, maybe my church wanted to rezone something, or there was a business that wanted to open in my district that was like my business, I would definitely recuse myself from that.
Thank you.
Is there anything in your background that you, that may come up that we should be aware of? We're open to an explanation if so.
No, I've pretty much kept my nose clean all my adult life. I'm married, have a wonderful husband who I made move to West Dallas because this is my home, and all my children are grown and they went through the West Dallas school system, the last two of them, and everything seems to be going well. I don't have any criminal background, never been arrested other than a speeding ticket. So other than that, I'm got a pretty clean bill of health in my background.
Very good, thank you.
What is your opinion of the city budget and taxes, and do you have any ideas to share?
I think the city is doing well on its budgeting. Having been on the library board, I've been familiar with Mayor Dan's directive to have 0 increases, and as on the library board, we work very hard to maintain that. I was glad to see that taxes went down. I was shocked to see what the school district did, but I think the city is doing very well. I always look for places that can be cut in budgeting. I believe in budgeting for growth, but no more than that. And I do also have, I do like using user fees to raise revenues if we have to, before we go after the full city property owners for tax increases.
Patty, how would you as an older person support the strategic plan, goals, mission, and vision of the city?
I guess I think the thing that needs to be done with the strategic plan is that that more of the constituents need to know what's happening with it. So it would be something that I would share on door-to-doors with my constituents, on social media with them. I'm also on Nextdoor for the neighborhood thing, so I would share with them on that. I would help with finding funding. Like I've said, I worked on the grant committee, and have written grants before, and so I'm very familiar with that. So to work with grant funding to get some of the plan in place and going would be something I would be interested in doing. And just I'm very supportive of it. I think it's a good document, and it's going to help West Dallas improve and attract people that we need to grow.
Patty, describe a time where you have experienced or exercised discretionary judgment in an issue, task that was before you.
When I was an alderperson in Phillips, I was the chairman of the police and fire committee, and we had to replace our police chief. We had finalized it down to 2 gentlemen, and then we received some disturbing allegations about one of them. I used my discretionary decision to follow up on those allegations, traveling to where he previously worked and discussing his behavior and his service with his fellow officers and some of the citizens in the community. I was satisfied that the allegations were untrue or highly exaggerated, and I went ahead and made the decision to recommend to the full council at that time that we should have hired that gentleman. We hired him. He served that city for about 10 years, and he recently retired.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with this committee at this time?
Yeah, I am interested in this position because I'd like to make West Dallas great again, I guess, to borrow somebody's phrase a little bit, and return it to maybe the glory it was when I was little. I like I said, I spent some time talking to my relatives and my children who are young millennials and why they have chosen not to live in West Dallas. And I would like to see some of the things that they suggested to me maybe brought here. More farm to table restaurants, more retail that is organic and just trending towards their likes, and restaurants and things to bring people to the city so that they then can see that West Dallas is a great place, that we have housing that is affordable and is nice to live in, that we have decent parks and we have decent streets and things like that, and that would bring people here. I'd also like to see more cooperation between the city and its surrounding neighboring cities to possibly lower taxes and costs of things that we would be doing. And also more of a partnership with the state, especially concerning State Fair Park and what goes on there. And just make this a place where people are going to come, enjoy, and then decide, I'm gonna move here because it's a great place to live. And I've always thought so.
Okay. Is there any alderman that would like to ask Patty a question? I guess at this time.
Okay.
You're safe.
All right.
Well, thank you for your interest in this position. We'll be in contact with you sometime after the final interview on
Okay.
Thursday.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You have a nice evening.
You too.